Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Raising Remarkable Teenagers podcast. And for those of us who are watching on online video, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to be here today. As always, gratitude. We are filled with gratitude. And as you all know, my name is Angela Karanja, and my job is to scour the whole world looking for information, looking for strategies, snippets, and steps to help parents of teenagers in raising highly effective teenagers. And today, I am so excited to introduce you to Maria Dureco. Maria is a consultant trainer. She's from Canada. And Maria is going to be speaking to us about positive parenting. We love positive parenting here, don't we? We do love positive parenting because that's something we keep talking about, and we all know that that is what is going to help us move to the next step with our young people. And when we are positive parents and when we practice positive parenting, we give them that empowerment, we give them that encouragement, and we inspire them to be highly effective young people, highly effective teenagers. So I'm just going to welcome Maria. Maria, you're welcome. Come on in.
Hi, Angie. How are you? And I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Hello.
Hi, Angie.
I am here. You,
Okay, yeah. So I don't think you heard me. Did you hear me earlier?
I
I just
did.
said hi, good morning. Yeah. Okay,
Yes,
great. There's a little bit of a lag.
you got a little frozen, but it's okay. We all know that sometimes
Mm-hmm.
the internet freezes a little bit, but we are good.
Yep.
We want to hear. So, how are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself, Maria.
Yeah, sure. So I am an immigrant here in Canada. I immigrated with my family in 2007 with three small kids that time. I have three children. So right now they are not really kids anymore, but a young adult and teenager. So my oldest is 22.
Mm.
He is on third year university. My second son is 18 and on the first year university. And then my youngest daughter, she is 15. So she just started grade 10.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, do you know what, we love to hear from parents, and we love to hear from professionals, we love to hear from parents, we love to hear from anyone that has experience, because we know the more diverse information we have, the more our diverse community and listeners can identify with. So tell us, yours is quite interesting, because you say that you immigrated to Canada with your three little ones. How was it raising them up? And what I hear is, obviously you have two of them who are in teenage years, and there's one that has jumped just over. But we would like to hear your experiences, and yeah, just know, when did you start? Because from what I hear from you, you've got very grounded young people. So when would you say you started your um, positive parenting, and when would you say? I mean, and obviously because you have three, you can tell us if they're different and how you manage that. So carry on,
Yeah, no,
Maria.
definitely. Yeah, so I think we should be starting positive parenting from the start. We have to start when the kids are, still little and, continue on until we feel that they're maybe wise enough to be on their own. But, as a parent, you don't really end giving advice, right? So I am fortunate that my husband and I have very similar, or we have the same values when it comes to raising kids, and that is, we've practiced positive parenting Of course, we're not perfect parents, right? But we started early with the kids who are still small. So what we usually do is, we encourage them, we give them all the love and attention that they need as a
Yes,
kid, which is very important as a foundation, right? For them to be feel that they are valued, to make them feel that they are unique in their own ways, and they have their own talents and skills, God-given talents and skills.
yes,
Plus the fact that we try to make sure that we are firm.
yes.
So I believe that positive parenting starts when the kids are little, because you have to make sure that you instill in them what are the important expectations.
Hmm.
As a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, they are smart kids. They can understand rules. They can follow rules. You just have to be firm but
Yes.
gentle. And so I learned from my parents to we are in the we our culture is kind of different from the Canadian way of life when we were being raised by our parents. So I try to get the good the good way that my parents raised me, and of
Yes.
course I try to be better, right? Anything that I think I should not be doing with my kids, I try to avoid doing that with them. So discipline in the Philippines is quite different. And, for the most part, parents are a bit very strict and harsh, when
Hmm.
it comes to discipline. And that's what I try to avoid raising my kids. And
Yeah.
so positive parenting for us really started when they were little. And
Mm.
up until now, they have very different personalities too. And they're very unique in their own way. You
Mm.
cannot say that, you can, my parenting style from my oldest will be the same with my second and my youngest.
Mm.
You learn from your mistakes, right? So initially when my kids were in their teenage years, we had our own little fights, misunderstandings, but that's how you learn as a parent. And I think what is important too is, as a parent, you have to make sure that yes, you are a parent, you can be a friend to them,
Uh-huh.
but humility is very important as a parent as well. So I have learned that to say sorry to my kids if ever initially a burst of anger, I was kind of disappointed, and maybe I may have said something that hurt their feelings.
Mm.
um, Later on, at the end of the day, I try to explain to them why I said that, how I felt, and I say sorry to them, and I ask for forgiveness from them, because that is role modeling too. I believe that it's very important if the kids are seeing that, this is how my parents are raising me up. This is how my parents' behaviors and attitudes are.
Yes.
That's one way for parents to influence them as a kid or as a teenager growing up.
Wow, Maria, you said something very important there about humility. You know, so what I hear from you is that you practice humility, and obviously as you practice humility, you are modeling or demonstrating to your young people, to your kids, how to have humility, how to say yes, I am wrong, how to say I am sorry. That is powerful. That's a powerful thing, and many parents don't tend to practice that. And maybe it's because of the way we were brought up, that
That's
kids are
right.
not, kids are there to be seen and not to be heard. So I really love that, because that, in fact, that is one of the qualities that I encourage parents to have, to actually to ask for forgiveness from their young people, because we are not always right. And that
That's right.
way
Yeah.
you show them that you are human, right? And
Hmm.
because you are
Hmm.
human, they are able to connect with you on a human level. That is very, very powerful. That's very interesting. One thing I wanted to ask you, many people confuse positive parenting with just being positive, 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 and maybe not actually having firm boundaries and that. But I know you mentioned being firm. Would you just tell us a little bit about how you instill discipline in what I would expect in a positive way? Because in positive parenting, there is positive discipline. So, what kind of ways do you, or have you instill that kind of discipline or positive aspects, positive behavior in your young people?
So yes, it is very important that early on you set your expectations with them.
Mm,
Even though they are kids,
mm,
they're human, they're unique, and they understand. They understand if you speak with them at a level that they understand.
yeah,
So usually I have family time. We do have our communication, our sharing of information at what happened to you at school,
mm,
any challenges. And my husband and I are very upfront when it comes to, okay, so, and of course at different levels during while they were growing up, right? So when they were little, we set expectations. Okay, so these are, you cannot do that.
yeah,
Why? Because, so we explain why.
uh-huh,
And if you do that, if you keep on doing that, this is what's going to happen, or this is what might happen to you. And
yeah,
so instilling in them that, okay, so my parent is saying that I cannot do this because, and so they understand. Also, like right now teenagers are very much into their gadgets, right? So we let them use their cell phones. They have their own laptops because it's needed, but we try to remind them that, hey, your priority is your education, your schooling. So they know that we are expecting a lot from them when it comes to expectation of getting good grades, and they have never failed us, Angie, to be honest.
mm,
We are very lucky because they have been obedient children. They have listened to us, and they do what we are saying because we see it the way they excel in school, they excel in sports,
yeah,
and the way they think about other people too. I see that they have been very, um, the quality of having empathy to other people. I
yeah,
see it when they speak about their classmates' experience, and so for the most part, though, we are at that stage because early on we have instilled in them the expectations, and we say, so this is your limit. If you actually exceed over that allowable limit that we are giving you, there's a
mm,
consequence to that.
ah,
And when they were little, we've had, I believe that the ages of 10 to 12, those are very difficult time for them too, and difficult time for parents because I think that the children are still trying to understand who they are
yes,
and knowing who they are, and what kind of attitude should I be having as a person. And so as a parent too, we've had our struggles. But the fact that, again, humility and setting expectation, what to tell them is, you still live within our house, so we are your parents, we provide the rules.
yes,
So we were kind of firm in saying, if you don't want to follow our rules, feel free to leave, but you are on your own. We tell them that. And at that age, I think we instill in them, not just saying that, okay, so yeah, they're okay with me doing stuff, but there's a consequence to that. So I think that's part of being kind, and but being firm. So being a parent, also being a friend. So you have to balance that. And as they age, you have to adjust as a parent too. I'm at the point right now we're in, because they have proven themselves that they're responsible.
mm,
We're kind of limiting. We're kind of not into that punishing mode anymore, right? So we are into being like a listener. Being we challenge their ideas, and if ever they come to us and say, how do I do this? I
mm,
don't provide the answers right away. I
mm,
ask them, so what do you think you should be doing, and what are the pros and cons if you do that? And then
absolutely.
I provide my guidance. So we are at that stage already, and we are blessed parents to have children that are listening, and they're kind of obedient to what we have instilled in them.
Oh, I must say that you're very fortunate because what normally happens to the majority of parents is that when the kids, I mean, including my one is when they get to teenage years, it's like they start to block you out. So they're not,
Yes.
they start to block you out. It's like whatever you're saying doesn't matter, or whatever is not important. It's not valid, right? So I
Right.
must say, in that way, you are very fortunate. The one question I would like to ask you, when you talk about consequences, normally when I'm delivering one of the programs I deliver is how to raise responsible teenagers. And part of what we teach is the five qualities of highly, or the five habits of highly effective teenagers. And that includes respect, responsible, resilient, robust, and radiant. So I heard you mention something that we use a lot in empowering them to be responsible, and that is, for example, when they come to you to ask you for answers, you put the questions back to them and allow them to explore in their mind possible solutions. And then, as they look at those solutions, they are also exploring and evaluating the consequences. Yeah, would you just talk to us
Mhm.
about that a little bit? Because it's something I'm passionate about. It's something I talk about a lot, but I would love to hear it from your end, from your practical end.
Mhm. So what I can share is my experience with my oldest son. So when he was still trying to figure out what he's going to take for university,
Yeah.
and so we usually ask them, so what do you plan to take for university?
Mm.
He was saying, I'm thinking of taking pharmacy.
All
And
right.
I asked him, so why pharmacy? What made you decide to take pharmacy?
Uh-huh.
And then he explained to me his reason why he wanted to take that. And so okay, so I asked him again, uh, you know have you figured out what are your strengths in terms of this particular program? So
Mm.
how does your strength fit into that? And do you think you'll be able to actually apply your strength? Because I
Mm.
told him, I see you as a person who will excel in a different kind of program,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted to hear your thoughts on that one. And
Okay.
so eventually he opened up to me that because friends are taking this kind of program, so that's why he wanted to take that program, right? So and so I explained to him, you have to decide for your future. You should not
Mm.
allow other people to decide for your future. Like, even as parents, we are here to guide you and to really show you your strengths, and maybe you're not seeing that, and anything that you need to improve on, but you
Yeah.
yourself should be deciding, not other people. And so, I explained to him, I see you have this strength, and you could be good at this stuff.
Yes.
And so he eventually explored other programs, and he said to me, "Mom, I'm going to take accounting instead." And
Oh.
so, knowing that his strength, because I know he's very analytical, and
Mm.
I try to draw it out from him. What are your strengths? And
Yes.
so he is very happy right now, and I see that he's also you see that they're happy when they are kind of motivated, and regardless of the challenges, they keep on they're very persistent with it. So I see that he is at this stage where, even though he has challenges, he is persisting, and I see his resilience. And I told him, I have to give credit to him too. Like, I have to we have to tell him, I think you picked the right program for you, because we see that you're excelling in that program. And, it's not about money too, right? It's about how you are, what passion you are into that, how passionate you are when it comes to pursuing your goals. So,
That's right.
we say that we are very specific with the recognition piece too. Anything that they did in terms of good stuff that they did, we are very specific on that, not just general praising that you're such a good boy, you're such a good son. No, we do we are very specific with why we are praising them. And I think in terms of consequences, they are very he's realized that, okay, yeah, maybe mom is right, because I'm happy with what I'm doing. And
Mm.
he in fact got an internship with one of the big four firms here in Canada. So it's a very competitive program, but he was able to get in. So that's why
Yeah.
I know that he's happy with his choice. And you
Wow.
know what, Angie, I forgot to mention, it's very hard to raise teenagers, right? Especially if you are in a situation where you're in two different cultures, or different cultures clashes, right? So because we are Filipinos by nature, um, and then our kids are growing up in a Canadian culture. One
That's
of the things that my husband and I always tell them, you have to really know who you are. You are
Yes.
Filipino, but you are also Canadian. So you
Yes.
have to understand you have to pick the good things in our culture and then pick the good things in the Canadian culture.
Absolutely.
And it's very hard because I know there are some parents who actually didn't instill that in their kids. Like they lost their identity as Filipinos. They're very much Canadian, and I don't want the kids to have that particular attitude or behavior. I want them to look back and say, "I'm proud to be Filipino, but I'm also Canadian." So
That's right. So they are proud. You want them to be proud of their heritage. You want them to
that's
be
right.
proud of their background. And it's okay to have a couple of backgrounds on you. Really, it's fine and it's okay, right? So that's
Yes.
something I'm really. There's one thing that really caught my attention about when you asked him why he really wanted to take pharmacy. You and I feel what you did for you to get that answer is that you actually engaged him. You engaged him to such a point that he opened up to you and told you the truth of his heart. So he opened up. And I that is one thing I talk to parents a lot about. Engage your young person, engage your teenager at a deep level so that they can actually tell you their dreams and their fears.
Mhm.
Because what I know is, for example, if your young person had gone on and taken that pharmacy, which is not what he really wants, but he's taking it because his friends are doing it, which is peer pressure, he would have ended up
Mhm.
being miserable, right? And what
That's
I
right. Yeah.
see a lot is young people who are taking subjects or who are involved in curricula that they or even games that they don't like so that they can fit in, but inside they're dying inside, right? So it's
Mhm.
very I like what you did. You explored, you had that deep chat, and those are the deep chats. And it's got to be safe, because if your child or your young teenager feels threatened or feels judged, they're not going to share their fears and their dreams with you. So as parents, it's very important to provide that safe space. I usually call it a safe space for young people to speak, so that they can open up, and so that they can actually share their real self, so that when they make the next step, they are not suffering. Yeah. And I can feel that is exactly what you did with your young person. And I am so excited, because I know many of us here have got multiple children. And the next question I'm going to ask is, how do you, I mean, I only got one child, one teenager of my own, right? But because I work with different young people, and obviously my daughter has friends who together we all think we are family and all that. So
Mhm.
I know about almost parent. I can say I have an understanding of parenting multiple kids, but obviously some of them are not my very own. So how would you say you deal with your different personalities? Because I know many of our parents here have got two, three kids, four. In fact, some of them have got five, and it's all good, and
Mhm.
it's nice, because all we want here is that whether you have one or you have 10, that we are all doing our best, that we are empowering ourselves to raise these highly effective teenagers. So what kind of advice would you give in terms of, yeah, addressing or raising different personalities?
Mhm. Well, what I can share is because I am an intercultural trainer, right? So I practice what I teach my clients in terms of understanding
Yes.
different personalities and different cultures with my kids as well. So, and I only became an intercultural trainer past few years. So, basically, it's more of I learned before person, and knowing that there are tools too for parents to use, like the personality, this personality assessment tool that they can use, right, for
Mm.
knowing themselves as a parent. What is my style? What is me basically as a person in terms of how I communicate with other people, and then applying that to your kids as well, knowing your kids, because um, because we are, like, for example, I can say that I'm a very direct person, and I can see from my kids, so I have to adjust the way I communicate with my kids. My second
Mm.
son, I believe he is more of he's not the same as my oldest son. He Because my oldest son has the same personality as me, and I can tell that my second son is actually more of, similar to what his dad is when it comes to the way they communicate. And
Yeah.
so sometimes when I'm having a hard time, communicating with my second son, I ask the help of my husband. I tell him, because I see that you are kind of very similar when it comes to communication. Can you talk to him about this?
Yeah.
And my daughter is, she's also very unique. She's a mixture of maybe both me and my husband. But again, it's understanding who I am,
Mm.
understanding who they are, and then
Absolutely.
adjusting to how I can communicate. And you raise a very good point, and Angie, when it comes to creating that safety. I think communication is key, right? If your children is not comfortable
Mm.
communicating with you because they're kind of intimidated with you,
Mm.
they will not open up. But if you actually instill in them that, I'm here to listen, and I'm here to give advice, and
Mm.
I'm here to rein you in if needed, it will work. Work out fine, because it's communication. I think that's one of the things that is being challenged right now when it comes to the family dynamics. Communication is not happening between spouses, between parents and kids. Maybe because everyone is on the phone, you just text your kids, hey, and there's no communication anymore. So that's one of the challenge that we face right now in our society. But again, communication and knowing your kid's personality is are keys for having creating that safe environment for them to speak
Mm.
up.
Mm. I like the way you say about listening to them, and it's one thing I talk a lot about us listening in so that they know that we are hearing them, and when they know that we are hearing them, they
Mm-hmm.
feel valued. And when someone feel valued, anyone, any of us, when we feel valued, we are more connected, right? But when there is no communication, when there's a disconnect, oh, we can miss a lot of things. In fact, I'm just going to I like statistics, and sometimes they're a bit scary, but it's important for us to mention them. Our research is showing us that 40% of teenagers are lonely, right? What does that mean? I mean, and we're not talking about teenagers who haven't got families. We're talking about teenagers in their home, but they're lonely, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when kids tell you they're
Again, there's a disconnect there, I think, right? Yeah.
when they tell you they are lonely, what does that mean? That means they are feeling that we are not engaging them. They are feeling that we are not listening to them, and you know, and what happens when they are lonely? They are even more vulnerable. They become even more vulnerable to being picked up
Hmm.
by either gangs or sex crime or drug crimes. That is what happens, right? So I'm just gonna ask you, it's interesting because I wanted to talk to you especially about the role of culture in raising our young people. I'd really like to hear that because, as you said, I know you mentioned it earlier about your culture background. As for example, when I'm raising my young person, I've got the Kenyan. I bring in the Kenyan background, and then we also bring in the UK background, and we bring in, you know, so how would you say culture plays out when we are raising our young people?
Again, I think bring up culture and heritage as part of your conversation with your children is very important. It's going back to their roots, and the way they know where they can, what our roots are,
Mm,
the more that they will understand themselves, why they are thinking like that. And
mm,
because I think culture is not just, based on a country's, specifics, right? It could be, I believe that culture is a lot of, your own values, your own personality, your own
absolutely,
traditions. And
absolutely.
so I try to balance the good and the, right. So for example, values. So what are the good Filipino values that I wanted my children to remember and to be instilled into their minds and in their hearts? I my husband and I are really very much communicating with them and letting them know that we have to know what are the important values that we have, that you should be continuing generations on if you will be having kids. We emphasize with them faith, family, and of course, what are the very good traits that Filipinos have. you
Mhm.
know People say that we are hardworking, so those are the things that are very good to have as a person too, because you are a Filipino. But then
Mm,
again, you are now in Canada. You are, Canada is a different culture, very open-minded people too, right? So I want them to be able to have that open mind and having that, to be able to more of a challenge, be able to adapt into a challenging environment.
oh,
Um, Although I say to them, it's because you are considered as a Filipino Canadian, you just don't end being um, having those traits. You have to explore other cultures too, because that's how you learn. And I think we have heard about the growth mindset concept, right? I think um, very early on, it is important for us to instill in them that, even though um, you are from the Philippines, you came from the Philippines, we have these traits and we have this culture tradition, you can still learn other cultures. And that's how
absolutely.
you develop your own personality, you develop your own uniqueness. And so that's
Yeah,
what we instill in them. Balancing everything is key, right? You don't want to be hardcore Canadian only or hardcore Filipino only, but there are a lot of uh, important cultures that you can learn too and that you can adapt in your own way of living. Just pick the
absolutely.
best and the good things.
Yeah, and like you said, culture is very, it's fluid actually. It's not static. and
Right.
and and I think as parents, and especially at teenage years, because that's when they're trying to establish their identity, their own identity, it's important for us to remind them that they are unique, and they can pick up what is good in my this culture, what is good in this culture, what is good in, because as we talk, in fact, as you said, we're very well said, the culture is not just about country, right? Teenagers themselves now, they have a culture, right? They have their own
Hmm.
culture, and we need to allow them to look into that culture and decide, do I like this? For example, if you've got girls, do I like what this particular culture is wearing? Do I like the language? Because that's all part of culture. Do I like the
Hmm.
language they use? Do I like the way they're going? Do I like the music they listen to? Because that's all culture, and it's not about. In fact, culture is sometimes we even have, we know there is just not just culture, we have subcultures, and it sometimes, especially when they're
That's
in
right.
their teenage years, it doesn't matter where where you came from. you can have you can have 5 kids who are so different. You can see they're so different, but they have a culture of their own, because they have
Hmm.
decided. And as I said, it's very fluid. It's very, that you can see. I mean, I see it so many times. I have one white kid, one black kid, one Asian kid, you know, all sorts, and they are best friends. And when you look,
Hmm.
what is it that they have in common? That is their culture. That is that the way they dress is the same. You see they speak the same. So they have decided to form a sort of subculture. So I believe as parents, our
Mhm.
job is to, like you properly said, encourage them to have that growth mentality. Yes, you're from here, you're from there, but look and evaluate what it is that you are encompassing and taking on as being part of you, because everything that we bring into ourselves now, that becomes our identity, isn't it? So
Mhm.
yeah.
That's right.
So we're almost running out of time, and what we usually do, I am so excited that you're here. What we usually do here is, our parents love practical steps, they love practical strategies, they love practical snippets that they can take away and practice as soon as today. So today, Maria, uh, in summing up everything that you have said, what three tips, practical tips, practical strategies, or steps or snippets can you give to our parents so that they can practice as soon as today to better themselves as parents, to empower themselves as parents? What three practical tips would you give us today here at Raising Remarkable Teenagers?
Okay, sure. So I think the first tip that I can give is to always remind yourself that you will always be a parent, but don't limit yourself to just being a parent. Make sure that you're also a friend to your children,
Mhm,
because that's how good communication will start.
mhm,
Second, when it comes to communication, again, knowing yourself and knowing your kids'
mhm,
different personalities and uniqueness, and
mhm.
adjusting to how you communicate with them to make sure that the communication is improved, because you have to tailor the way you communicate with each of your kids.
Aha.
They are their own different individuals, so
Mhm.
that's one way of valuing their uniqueness.
Absolutely.
Third is, again, it's very hard to listen, but I believe that, especially with teenagers, we should stop doing a lot of punishment on them, but again, engage them and ask them questions, um, listen to what they're saying,
Mm.
and at the same time, make sure that you say to them that I am listening and I'm not judging.
Ah.
People, your friends might judge you, but know that I'm your mother, I'm your father,
Mm.
or we are your parents, and we are here because we are here to, our responsibility is to guide you, so we will not be judging you in whatever issue that you stick up with us. And if we can, we are here to provide you that guidance and insight that you need. But you are on your own, especially if you are, if they are like in their teens already, 18 to 18 onwards. You encourage them to really make the right decision or pick the right choices
Mm.
after you have given them the guidance and the insight.
Oh, brilliant. Those are beautiful, beautiful snippets. You talked about communication and also valuing their uniqueness, their unique personality, and also listening in, listening in and allowing them to evaluate their choices. And that's amazing. So Maria, just before you go, how can our parents find you? Where would they be able to find you? It would be nice so that if they've got any further questions, or if they want part of the training that you provide, how would they be able to find you, if you can advise us?
So they can find me on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
My name there is Maria Natalia Jureco, but if they type in Maria Jureco, I believe my name will show up. And I also am in Facebook, and that's how we met Angie,
Yes.
Maria Jureco,
Yes.
under Consult Asia Global. That's her company. So yeah, feel free to throw me any questions that you may have. I hope that I'll be able to provide you the insight that you need when it comes to raising remarkable teenagers.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the links to Maria Duroco's contacts right here, because what we do here, we encourage everyone to contact. If you've got a question, contact a person that might know, contact a parent, contact an expert, contact someone, because really, we are the village, all of us. There is a saying that says it takes a village to raise a kid, it takes a village to
Mhm.
raise a teen. And myself, Maria, all other people that we bring on here, and yourselves, listeners, we are the village. And that's why we encourage each other to look out for information that might help you. A word from Maria. Maria might be able to explain something even better than I can. So reach out to her. So I'm going to leave the contacts down here, and I am so excited. And Maria, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today, and for giving us a lot of content, a lot of information, and we are so grateful. And from all of us here at Raising Remarkable Teenagers, we hope that what Maria has spoken to you today, you're going to go out and practice and be, because we ought to be the change that we want to see. So thank you so much, Maria.
Most welcome, and it's a pleasure to be here. And I totally agree with you. Raising kids is like raising it takes a village to raise a kids. And what you're doing is such awesome job, because we are raising the future, right? So the kids are our future. So if we raise them to become effective teenagers, effective adults, we are raising better future for everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I love the way you recognize that, because it's something we talk with parents about. And we talk about, we want to, like Mother Teresa said, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family.
That's right.
Change your family first. So we all want to be,
Beautiful.
we
Yeah.
want to be global changers. We can start right there, right here where we are. So I am so excited for gracing us with your presence again. And we hope to see you some other time soon. And for now, from all of us here, we are saying bye bye.
Bye, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, Maria, to you and your family. Thank you so much.